Bonjour, bonsoir. Bienvenue à une nouvelle sortie de Garder tes tout avec Dr. Flore. Welcome to a new genuine conversation, Garder tes tout with Dr. Flore. We always tell you that our guests inspire, they motivate, bring conscious awareness, and throughout that genuine conversation, we definitely have fun. As always, we let our guests introduce themselves, then go with the person, the young boy or the young girl that they are in, or they've been in their life. Without any further ado, let our guest introduce himself. Welcome on Garder tes tout with Dr. Flore.
Thank you. I appreciate your having me. My name is Dr. John Buchanan. I work for SIU University. I am the Associate Dean of Business Programs, undergraduate business programs to be specific. And I'm happy to be here to talk about any number of topics.
Very good. We're going to start with you, not the dean, the associate dean. We're going to start with John Buchanan. Mm-hmm. Where were you born? To let our viewers and listeners discover the boy first.
I that's an interesting question. I grew up here, but I was born in the Caribbean. I am Jamaican by birth. My parents lived there and here and elsewhere. I migrated to South Florida from Chicago many years ago, perhaps too many, for college. And so after I went to FAU proudly. And after FAU, I decided to pursue further education, and I went to the Nova Southeastern. And after that, and by the way, I did all of this while working. I worked in different industries. I started out in financial services. I worked for a number of financial services firms. Some were based in New York, some were based in San Francisco, some were based in, many had offices in South Florida. So for me, that was ideal. I learned the craft. I traded financial markets of practically every stripe. I do have some preferences. I like bonds. Traded a lot of the bond market and commodities in general. That was fun. Very high octane. Very exciting, but risky. So a lot of the people that I did business with were people that were not nearly as risk averse. They recognize that there is a heightened degree of risk in the instruments that they traded, but they are smart enough to recognize that returns are commensurate with risk. So if you're opting for a risk, though limited, you're expecting a rate of return that is more or less commensurate with the choices you're making. So I did that for a number of years. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I always I'm looking for more in terms of what I can contribute, the intellection that is required. How much mentally stimulated I would be. And I worked in different capacities. I was a vice president of one firm. I worked as a portfolio manager, and I spent an awful lot of time working with analyzing markets and all of that. I got to the point though where I didn't feel intellectually I was being developed, or I had the type of opportunities that I was seeking to become more in terms of contributions I could make. The contributions, not that I was making a contribution then, but my contribution was to a specific group of people, a more limited, body of people, so to speak.
I get you. Then before we put our seatbelt and travel further, we're gonna bring back the boy. Connection with Jamaica. Then did you ever go back home?
I have gone back years ago, quite a bit. My dad owned real estate there, and then he just unfortunately died at a young age of 50. So I ended up inheriting stuff that I had no idea what to do with. He was in the midst of building a huge property on the ocean, and fortunately at the time I had the resources to step in, and I spent an awful lot of money unwisely finishing the project. Then it came time to maintain it, and I discovered that there was a whole different experience. Interesting, and I learned a lot from it. The system is somewhat. The system. I'm looking for the right word to describe it. It's
unstable.
Almost. It's perplexing, puzzling. It's almost enigmatic in certain regards. And doing business there, not everything is as heavily regulated. So there are certain trespasses that happen, and it's just kind of like routine.
Any relative that you could brought in that could help his legacy?
Not really, because the ones that I know of, they are in a different line of work, line of business, different types of interest. So when you're dealing with that type of business, you have to have people that are very aware. Best intentions are not necessarily going to do the job the way it ought to. You have to have a certain awareness, a certain sort of business intelligence. And that is something that you don't find a lot of. It's there, but people are not necessarily as, I don't want to say they're not entrepreneurial. They are in many regards, but they are doing the things that they understand how to do. What I was dealing with was something perhaps a bit different. Eventually, I ended up selling the property to someone from New York.
I get you.
And then another saga opened up.
Okay. Very, very familiar when we are from the Caribbean, and I'm from Haiti, then I can relate. Then, Dr. Buchanan, you shared your experience as professional, but intriguingly, you mentioned that you deal with a certain type of people and finances, and you shared that your preferences are in bonds. For people not really financially savvy, what are the bonds and what are their purpose?
Okay, bonds are an interesting instrument. They're usually instruments that are issued by entities. Entities could be definitionally government, a municipality, a company, and the like. And essentially, it's an instrument that is given to you, the lender, by the borrower, that being a government, it could be municipal government, it could be the state government, it could be the federal government, but you give them your money and they give you an instrument. That particular instrument represents a contract for the debt that is incurred. That particular instrument stipulates the rate that the bond is issued at. It stipulates the period for which the bond is issued. It stipulates the par value being the face value of the instrument. In other words, if you got an instrument that says $1,000, 20 year, so 20 years from this point would be 2004, maturity date is 2046. That is set in stone. You are going to, when you buy that instrument, you hang on to it. The coupon on it might be, let's say, 5 or 6 or 7%, whatever it is. And you will be paid either annually or semi-annually, depending on, of course, the dictates of the bond. You will hang on to the bond generally, although you have the option of trading out of the bond, right? So in that particular regard, you will you'll be subject to things like a capital loss or a capital gain, depending, of course, what interest rate does, because interest rates are essentially the driver of bonds. You know, when bonds and interest rate, interestingly enough, are inversely related. So like now, for example, when interest rates are going up, the traded present value of the bond or face value of the bond goes down, right? So we hear people talking about, not necessarily wanting to be a bond investor at this particular point because rates are being tilted up on the long end. Long end of the curve would be like 20, 25, 30 years. When we're talking about the type of duration, and because you have that much time involved, your risk becomes more pronounced.
I get you.
And so when we talk about the risk being pronounced, we're talking about a situation, for example, where if rates were to push much higher, the bond starts losing more money.
Now, from the professional to the professor to the passionate associate dean, San Ignacio University, let's travel there. Why?
It's kind of interesting. I got introduced to the university years ago. I was asked to build a doctoral program, which I did. I was not told that I was going to teach the program. I told I was just being hired or contracted to build the program because I'd been in education for a number of years. And obviously I had the background to do it. When I got done building the program, I was then asked to teach it. And then I started regretting it a little bit because at the time the rigor was fairly high. At that time, the program was a full 15-week program. Interestingly enough, I did teach the program, and I kept on getting asked to teach it again and again. I was doing it as an adjunct. I was working for other universities at the time, and eventually, about almost a year ago, the administration and I got around to talking, and the understanding was that they were attempting to replace someone who was leaving, and I would be considered to be an ideal fit. So with all of the discussions and conversations that we've had, I landed the position, and as they say, the rest is history. That's the synoptic view of it, so to speak, a short, brief overview of it, so to speak.
Congratulations. Then we need to tell our viewers and listeners that today we are having our genuine conversation with the Associate Dean of the undergrad program at San Ignacio University, that is in the heart of Doral. Doral now that has become a very big city, expanding, and higher education being present in the map. Tell us about the program that you are leading. What are the different areas, careers that people should consider when talking about San Ignacio?
Well, we, specific to the undergraduate program, we're centered to business administration, hospitality management, international business. There is the marketing component. There is sports and fitness management. And of course, there's the option of computer engineering. Again, that is based on the interest you have.
And those are 2 years program or 4 years?
Well, you might start at an associate's level, which means that as you come in, you might be earning your first degree after 2 years. That's usually about 60 credit hours. And then, you do a bachelor's would be 120, which would be a 4-year program. So
we are in summer now, and the time is appropriate, and we commend you and the team for thinking of Miami Community News Network to come and tell people that, hey, if you are home, not the time to procrastinate, put education first, and here are some options right there in Doral that you need to consider San Ignacio. Then let's start with business administration. What do someone do with business administration nowadays?
Everything. Okay. If you think about it in context, everything is a business. Whether you're a sole proprietor, you own a lawnmower, a lawn service business, or
Barbershop.
You own a small business like a barbershop, or you own a retail establishment, whether it's a restaurant or a clothing store. You're in whether you're in the swap shop or you are on Main Street. It's all business. Taking to another extreme, or not necessarily another extreme, but in another context, you work for a regular company. You might be working in accounting. You might be working in finance. You might be working in marketing.
From the time one's wake up to go to bed, our life is about business.
Everything is business, even healthcare. So, in as much as you might be one that has a passion, for example, to be something like a veterinarian, or you want to be a podiatrist, or you want to be a truck driver, it doesn't matter what it is that your occupation is. You have to have some business awareness.
Then you brought your life experience. Then that's why often I heard at San Ignacio that they have the top-notch faculties. And my hat to you. Then that's why I had you go telling and inspiring our viewers from where you come from, your professional life and finance, and now you're heading and leading an undergraduate program where you not only bringing your experience, but you have the theory and also can bring the practicality. Then business, I heard also hospitality. What kind how's your clientele, your students?
Well, we have a mix of students from different locations or places, and they have their interest is wide and varied. Some people are interested in, first of all, in terms of location. A lot of our students are from other countries. So
then modality, you guys are virtual or in person?
Actually, we're all of the above. They're checking all the boxes, and that's important. Someone who lives in another country that doesn't have the ability to come to the United States for school can attend virtually. So that's a very important component.
And that's a plus.
And for others who are attending other universities elsewhere, for example, if they're attending our sister university, UCIL in Peru, they can literally enroll in a dual degree program. So they get a degree from that location, and they come to the U.S. to finish up and get a United States degree.
A powerful exchange program.
Oh, absolutely. So it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the degrees that are issued here in the United States have a certain currency to it. It makes it a very valuable tool to have, because one of the little known secrets about the United States education system is that you can take a degree that you have earned here, and you can take it to just about any part of the world, and it's readily accepted. You don't have to be, you don't have to be retested necessarily. I'm generalizing, of course. There might be some exceptions, but in the main,
it's valid.
It's a very, very worthwhile tool to have.
Let me pause here and just in few words reach out to the Hispanic community. We do that in the show so they can see what you're saying. Hoy nuestro invitado es el asociado decano John Buchanan de la Universidad San Ignacio en el centro de la ciudad Doral. Entonces, él comparte con nosotros la importancia de los estudiantes extranjeros, por ejemplo, de Perú, que están estudiando en el programa de él, de administración, de negocio, de mercado y también de hospitalidad. Y él dice que esos estudiantes tienen la ventaja de venir y estudiar en los Estados Unidos, y también esta universidad tiene este programa extraordinario de estudiar en línea. Then, tienen que ir en línea y buscar sobre San Ignacio y aprender más. Very good, Dr. Buchanan. Then that aspect of sharing that international students have access to our program, it's really powerful. And you specifically mentioned Peru. Then we spoke about the business program. We mentioned hospitality, marketing. Marketing now is with social media
it's everything. So following up on the thread you pulled on marketing, students, regardless of where they are, because we do have a major ground component here as well. We have students that come from practically everywhere, including local students. They come to the campus, and for that reason, they have the exposure as they would in any solid educational institution. The simple fact is that in terms of interest, they might be interested in, let's say, tourism, or one might be interested in, restaurant management. There are different components that are involved in hospitality. You might be someone that wants to be a vintner. There are a lot of different pieces or places that you might want to be someone that is an inventory manager of a cruise ship.
Yep.
You might want to work on a cruise ship. You might want to own your own business. All of that, as a restaurateur or someone that provides a certain service to people. You might want to own a massage, parlor.
That's true, or even be mobile.
Oh yeah,
because we have the massage therapists. They travel as well. Then that's excellent. Then CU prepares you to be global once graduate with one of those programs.
Oh, absolutely. You want to be, you want to get into something like, maybe. You have a beauty salon or a series of beauty salons. That's all under the heading of
that create franchise.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It comes all. You might want to have any of the major franchises that are out there. You might want to have one or more. I once had a student that had 10 stores. I don't know if I can say the name, but 10. Fast food stores.
That's excellent. Then in closing, we heard also spot. Tell us a little bit more about that.
A spot.
No, you said spot. Like
for sure. We have a sport management program as well.
Okay.
And the beauty about that is that it's one of that in the area of sports management, I think the growth is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 13% per year. Somewhere thereabouts, the last time I took a look at that number. But what that does is that it positions you to do a lot of different things. You can run a facility like a stadium,
fitness,
like a stadium, or you can run a fitness center. In some cases, depending, of course, the extreme to which it's taken, you might be able to manage. You might be able to manage a team. You might be able to, if you have, particularly if it's aligned with the law background, you can represent top athletes. So it exposes you to, and mind you, sports is an integral part of American life. Look,
recently Miami was the home for FIFA.
My point exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of resources that are being allocated to that area, and I mean, even if you're not approaching it on that grand level, you can think of it in the context of, well, look, my neighborhood has a park and recreational department, and you could look to manage something like that.
I like that.
Right?
Then you're not a politician, but if you have to do a pitch for your program to have students reach out to you, and do they call you directly? Now the floor is yours in 1 minute. What would you
Absolutely.
tell?
If you are interested in any of the things that I've talked about, and by the way, there's a lot more
Yes.
to talk about, feel free to reach out at to the university, satignasiauniversity.edu.
Yes. Then thank you for your time, Dr. Buchanan. And also, we want people to know that San Ignacio is also very open to the special needs population.
Absolutely.
Then if you look into the website, August 31st, children with autism particularly, you can choose San Ignacio for a wonderful experience. I'm Dr. Flore Latotu. It's always a pleasure to have genuine conversation with people like John Buchanan. Thank you.